Are high-profile visits like Nancy Pelosi's worth increased military tensions near Taiwan?
Prominent ruling party politician Lin Fei-fan tells us what he thinks and how democracies can support Taiwan.
Also, a look at the turbulent weather this week.
And how global politics affected a Taiwanese beauty queen. This is Taiwan Insider.
Welcome to the show. Is the free world uniting in defense of Taiwan? Well, just this week, Taiwan hosted 60 lawmakers from around the world at its Twin Oaks estate in Washington, D.C. to discuss deterring China from attacking Taiwan. China has been escalating military activity near Taiwan ever since U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi visited last month. Today we hear from DPP Deputy Secretary General Lin Fei-fan, who was a prominent leader of the Sunflower Movement, which protested a trade pact with China in 2014. He recently wrote in the Washington Post that the free world should unite in defense of Taiwan. I asked Lin what he thinks other democracies should do for Taiwan.
First of all, the Pelosi's visit, to my understanding, is a positive, definitely positive trend for the Taiwan and U.S. relations. That's important progress for our bilateral relations. Pelosi is actually the first speaker after 25 years that visit Taiwan, and highest-ranking officials to visit Taiwan as well. But after Pelosi's visit, China's response to this visit is very aggressive. That's showing the world that they are the country that are willing to endanger the stability of the Taiwan Strait. And they are posing the gestures that is trying to let our allies to know that they will do whatever they can to punish Taiwan and the U.S. After this visit. So they don't mind to show their muscles through the military drills, like firing missiles across Taiwan Strait, even into the Japanese EEZ. So they're showing the world that they are the new hegemon in the region. So that's the main message that they're trying to conduct. So I think that for Taiwan and for the whole free world, especially after the Russia invasion of Ukraine, that we need to know that the free world order is already in a very fragile position. So we can endure any loss of another democracy in the world. So the whole free world must stand together.
So what do you think the other nations should do for Taiwan?
The diplomatic support still very essential. A lot of people are saying that Pelosi's visit is kind of a symbolic meaning. But Beijing's perspective is really clear that they don't want to see any kind of symbolic progress. So for them, symbolic progress is actually equal to substantial progress of Taiwan's position. Yeah. So what we need to do is to gather more support from the international community. That we invite and encourage that more world leaders to come to Taiwan to show the solidarity with Taiwan. And we also hope that the world can also discuss their policies toward China, that their approach. Now, China is entering the 20th Congress. Xi Jinping's position is secure. His purpose his ambition is actually very clear that it's going to pursue to overturn the world order based on the international law and freedom and liberties, all those values.
So you think that other countries should be a lot more wary of China, or
Yes.
also express that they would support Taiwan or have sanctions against China if China were to attack Taiwan?
I will argue that the free world to send more delegation, to send more support to Taiwan, not just for the diplomatic relationship, but also the defense issue as well. That it is the time that the free world to discuss if the crisis really happen, then how the free world can react.
So
Okay.
if we see more and more top officials from different countries coming to Taiwan to show their support, we could see Beijing getting very nervous and reacting with even more escalated military activity. Do you think that's worth it?
If you assume that China's invasion of Taiwan will happen someday in the future, or even in the near future, then now is not the time to think about appeasement. Xi Jinping's regime is totally different from the previous Chinese leader. Since 2012, initially he started the so-called China Dream project, and also saying clearly that I'm going to pursue the so-called Great Chinese Rejuvenation. So their aim is to take back Hong Kong. After Hong Kong, they're going to take back Taiwan. And that's the mindset of Xi Jinping, obviously. Now, China is clearly with Russia. They're trying to overturn the current free world. So that's a crisis that we are facing.
So I see. That you think that actually when other democratic nations show their solidarity with Taiwan, China will think twice, and be less likely to attack Taiwan.
I think the more support we get, the more secure we are.
We also spoke about how youth are impacting Taiwan politics and much more. The whole interview will be up on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook.
Taiwan's used to being at the center of a geopolitical storm, but it's no stranger to the meteorological kind either. Over the weekend, a typhoon lashed Taiwan with torrential rain, and a group of campers were lucky that they didn't get washed away in a flash flood.
A powerful pillar of water washes away camping equipment. One by one, chairs, stoves, and even a tent get swept away. Rainy weather caused a flash flood, inundating this once calm riverbed in New Taipei. The raging torrent takes with it these campers' weekend plans. This past weekend was the Mid-Autumn Festival in Taiwan. For many here, it's a time to barbecue outdoors and gaze at the full moon. Unfortunately, Typhoon Muifa, which came close to Taiwan over the holiday, had different plans. On Sunday morning, campers set up shop by the river while the weather was still fair. But by noon, the skies turned gray and the rain started coming down. Luckily, Red Cross Taiwan volunteers were stationed nearby, ready to help the people in distress. At around 11 a.m., volunteers noticed that the river water had become murky, a telltale sign of an incoming flash flood. They started urging campers to pack up their gear, but the water level rose too quickly. Campers used the precious final seconds before the water hit to escape with their lives. This river is a popular spot for visitors to relax, but its waters hide whirlpools and undercurrents, making it a very dangerous place. With the typhoon still looming close to Taiwan, authorities have cordoned the area off. People who fail to comply with the restrictions face a fine of up to $1,600.
And while those campers had their lunch plans ruined by flash flooding, another group of Taiwanese are having their meal plans frustrated. I'm talking about buyers of Taiwan's famous railway bentos.
Bento boxes are a Taiwanese staple, and possibly none are more famous than those from the Taiwan Railways Administration. One eager customer says she lines up at 10 in the morning to get her 60 NT dollars lunchbox. She says if you come any later, they're usually sold out. 60 NT dollars is less than $2, so the meal is a good deal. Rain or shine, throngs line up for boxes of stewed pork chop or chicken over rice. Another loyal customer says he feels like he's won the lottery when he successfully purchases one of these lunches. He says you can't find a more affordable bento anywhere else. Recently, though, supplies of the delicious lunch have declined, limiting their already tight supply. Rail authorities say the main kitchen in Taipei, where the bentos are usually produced, is under renovation. During this time, a secondary kitchen outside of the city makes the lunches and they have to get delivered in. The recent change has reduced production by about 10%. Many hope that after renovations are completed in late October, these delectable boxes will be once again available to all who want them.
Next up, Leslie delves into the controversy surrounding a Taiwanese beauty queen in #Taiwan.
This is Gao Manrong, or Maggie Gao. Gao is many things. She's an actress, a model, and in 2017 she was named Miss Taiwan. This year she's representing Taiwan at the Miss Asia Global Competition in Penang, Malaysia. Also taking place in Penang at the same time is the 2022 World Congress of Innovation and Technology, otherwise known as WCIT. But what's the connection between a beauty pageant and a technology congress? Well, the uninvited go-between in this situation is, as usual, China. And, more specifically, in this case, the Chinese attempts to suppress the Taiwanese flag and imagery. So like I said, Miss Global Asia is taking place at the same time in the same place as the 2022 WCIT. The WCIT kicked off on Tuesday and there was an opening ceremony that featured the Miss Asia contestants. The idea was the contestants would go on stage, greet the attendees in their respective languages while holding the flags of the countries that they represented. Maggie Gao was supposed to be part of this lineup. However, as she eagerly awaited to go on stage, at the last minute, organizers pulled her. She was barred from participating in the opening. Taoyuan City official Karen Yu was anticipating Gao's appearance. But when she saw Gao crying on the sidelines, well, that's when she knew something was wrong. Yu then captured video of Gao visibly upset. That video later appeared on Yu's Facebook page. Yu and other Taiwanese attendees started shouting phrases of support for Gao and Taiwan. So what happened here? Remember the part where I said that the Miss Asia contestants waved the flags of the countries they were from? And remember the other part where I said China likes to oppress appearances of the Taiwanese flag? Oh yeah, it's that petty. Now, we won't know for certain, but at this point it's pretty safe to say that China had something to do with it. All previous instances of the Taiwanese flag being barred, restricted, or changed all came as a result of Chinese pressure. Beijing says Taiwan is part of China, and that means by their logic, Taiwan shouldn't have its own flag, because if it did, well, that would mean Taiwan is a separate country, or at least imply it. And that's despite the fact that I pay my taxes to President Tsai Ing-wen and not Chinese leader Xi Jinping. So China was so threatened by Gao holding a Taiwanese flag on stage at the WCIT that it threw a tantrum and demanded that she not be allowed on stage. And in the highly unlikely scenario that that's not the case, I want to hear it from the WCIT. I want to hear why the event organizers barred Gao from going on stage. WCIT organizers later apologized to Gao, but to me, that's like apologizing to someone after you sucker punch them. And I'm letting Miss Asia Global off the hook. Why? Simple, because they're not afraid to show the Taiwanese flag. Gao did not deserve what happened to her. She was seriously wronged. And yet still, she demonstrated modesty and grace when she bowed to WCIT organizers when they apologized to her. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is class. The kind of class needed to win a beauty pageant. Go win us a Miss Asia Global title, Maggie.
And before we leave you, here's a look at some of the other news stories that are on our radar.
A bill that aims to comprehensively restructure U.S.-Taiwan relations passed the U.S. Senate Foreign Relations Committee on Wednesday. The Taiwan Policy Act would authorize up to $6.5 billion in grants and loans for Taiwan to buy U.S. military equipment. But some original proposals have been dropped after objections by the White House. Those include plans to rename Taiwan's unofficial embassy in the US and designate Taiwan as a major non-NATO ally. Before the bill becomes law, it still needs to pass the US Senate and House of Representatives, as well as get President Joe Biden's signature. Top epidemic official Victor Wang says Taiwan's first shipment of second-generation COVID-19 vaccines will arrive this weekend. Authorities plan to start giving them out later this month, just before the expected peak of the latest wave of infections. Taiwan is still struggling to improve vaccination rates among the elderly. Wang says this is partly because of excessive media reports on vaccines' adverse side effects. The value of the new Taiwan dollar has hit its lowest point in 3 years. After reaching an exchange rate of 30-1 with the US dollar, the Taiwan dollar broke 31 on Wednesday. This is the lowest valuation for Taiwan's currency since mid-2019. Banking experts say many factors are behind Taiwan dollar's weakness, including higher US interest rates, depreciation of other Asian currencies, political tensions in the region, and a higher demand for foreign currencies after the COVID-19 pandemic.
Well, you know, today is kind of a sad day for us because it's Staś Butler's last day in the studio with us.
I know, very, very sad.
We're going to miss you a lot. So we're going to interview you today. No, just ask you a couple of questions.
Oh, okay. All right.
Well, tell us what you like most about being on Taiwan Insider.
What I like most about being Taiwan Insider, I have to say, I think this kind of ending is one of my favorite bits. I enjoy discussing our respective answers to some of the weirder questions we come up with. Yeah, I enjoy the camaraderie at points.
That's a softball question now.
Yeah,
that was like a, I'm coming at you hot. All right? 7 people in the office, minus you 6. Who's your favorite?
I couldn't pick, but Leslie, you're a great friend of mine.
That's it. You see, that's what I love about working with you.
I'm hoping to
You
appeal
say
to
what I want to hear.
You ask that question to everybody.
Do I?
Yeah, and then they have to say Leslie, right?
Yeah.
You see, that's
he's
To
a real
make
torment.
you feel better.
I get what I want. I get, that's how I
We're
get
always
what I
just
want.
stroking Leslie's ego here.
That's how your head doesn't get this big without outside help.
Yeah, exactly.
We actually do have a final question.
Oh,
And
really?
our question today is, let's pick one word to describe Stash.
Oh yes.
Oh.
So, my word, or you go first.
Okay, so my
You go first.
word is just 2 letters. AP.
Oh my gosh, that's so good.
It's just Stash
Oh my
is
gosh.
very.
AP
He's
style.
nothing if not consistent, and the core of his consistency, especially in the news writing team, is his faith and his devotion to
Unwavering.
sticking to AP style.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things I'm going to remember about you forever is I saw a tweet about why Stash writes the dates the way he does, and he says it's because it's AP style. And when I saw that, I was like, that is painfully on brand.
Oh my
for
gosh.
Stash.
You should renew their brand book. or
Well,
something.
I
They
just
should hire you.
like consistency. That's what I like.
Okay, well, I'm going to say Stash is exceptional.
Oh,
He came here last year as a new journalist, right?
Yeah.
And very quickly, he became a great asset to the team. He loves to edit everybody, AP style. Of course, he's a great contributor and co-host on Taiwan Insider.
We do need editors for
We
news,
do. So,
Yeah, it's not glamorous, but it's necessary.
you're really into that.
I
Why
guess.
is that so fun for you?
It's the detail. I love the
You love the
picking through. I
detail.
know it's not for everyone. I know.
Oxford
So, see, you're
man.
exceptional.
No, it's very kind of you.
exceptional.
AP.
So,
Anyway,
So-
that's about all the time we have for this edition of Taiwan Insider, and Stash, you're signing off for the last time. So let me give it to you. I'm Leslie Liao.
I'm Stash Butler.
and I'm Natalie Tso.
Make sure you catch us on social media channels like Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram.
And we'd love to hear from you. If you have anything to say to Stash, leave it in a comment below.
Yeah, you can even tweet at us. Our handle is Taiwan Insider. Anyway, guys, Natalie and I will be back next week. We'll see you then.
Bye.